focus at this hour, South Africa has temporarily halted the rollout of the AstraZeneca Coronavirus vaccines after a study showed that the dose provided minimal protection against the COVID variant found in the country. The government said that it was awaiting reports from scientists on how to proceed further as of now. Earlier, a locally conducted trial showed that the vaccine failed to provide enough protection against mild to moderate infections caused by the South African variant. The country was set to roll out the shot today. Health workers were first in line to receive the jab. South Africa has received more than 1 million doses of the vaccine, which has been developed by a UK firm. Authorities said that the temporary suspension of the AstraZeneca jab will not affect the country's inoculation drive, which is set to begin today. The government will now offer the Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer vaccines while experts decide how the AstraZeneca shots can be deployed. Researchers are planning to carry out large-scale trials to get more data on the jab's efficacy. More than 2,000 young and healthy volunteers participated in the trials. However, the South African COVID Advisory Committee says that the trial data is not enough to determine the vaccine's efficacy. The body is now planning to conduct another study involving more participants. Meanwhile, Johnson & Johnson and Novavax have said that their vaccines were less effective against the strain in clinical trials conducted in South Africa. In these trials, both the vaccines offered complete protection against severe disease and death in relation to COVID-19. Moderna, meanwhile, has said that it will test a booster shot and reformulate the vaccine to target the South African variant. Studies showed Moderna's vaccine was significantly less effective. Pfizer-BioNTech said that the vaccine was slightly less effective in a lab study. For more on this story, clinical virologist and honorary associate professor at the University of Leicester in the UK, Dr. Julian W. Tang is joining us live from Leicester. Dr. Tang, welcome to WION The World as one. Now, this is, of course, discouraging news for South Africa's inoculation drive that the AstraZeneca jabs offer minimal protection against the South Africa variant. So tell us more about this finding.
Yeah, so the South African variant is showing more robust against all the vaccines. Conferred probably by the 484, 417 mutations that the UK is only just seeing in their Kent variant. The 484 is now arising in the Kent variant as well. And this is the main mutation we think that reduces the vaccine efficacy for all vaccines, actually, not just AstraZeneca, to the South African variant.
Right. Now, what can be said of the other vaccines at this stage that South Africa is deploying, those by Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson? Will they be effective against the South African variant?
Yeah, so there's some data for those other vaccines as well, which shows a slight reduction in efficacy, but still over 50% in the South African against the South African variant. So I think those may have more robust data for initial rollout. I suspect the AstraZeneca is not that far behind, but it really depends on what threshold their local regulatory authorities want to see from those vaccines before they actually authorize them for use in that population.
Right. My final question, Dr. Tang. Now, strains from the UK, Brazil and South Africa are threatening to halt the vaccination progress made so far. What can be said about these mutating strains and their transmissibility at this stage?
Okay, so what we know is that they may be more transmissible. They don't seem to show much difference in severity just at the moment. But the resistance to the vaccine-induced immunity may be an issue. But don't forget you have your own normal immune response that will kick in once you see those viruses as well. So the combination of the vaccine-induced immunity plus your natural immune response will generally reduce or actually remove any risk of severe disease and hospitalizations and deaths. It really depends how much symptomatic infection you want to allow to then authorize these vaccines in those local populations.
Right. All right, Dr. Tang, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for all your inputs and thank you for joining us on this broadcast.